Welcome to Shapers of the Snow, a show dedicated to the small independent builders handcrafting skis and snowboards around the world. We sit down with the shapers to hear how they got started, the art behind their craft, the real challenges they face, and what continues to fuel their passion for creating shapes for the snow. Grab a beer or a coffee, and let's get on with the show. Hello, and welcome to Shapers of the Snow podcast. I'm your host, Josh. This is the very first episode, and in this episode, I'm going to take some time explaining what the podcast is about, my background with making skis, snowboards, power surfers, all that fun stuff, and just kind of give an idea what to expect about this podcast. The idea behind this podcast is to allow shapers from around the world to give their story, allow a little bit more insight into how they create their skis and snowboards, how they got into building, what drove them to want to make their own equipment, what kind of skis they're making, who are they making them for, are they making skis for the location and riding type that they're surrounded by, or are they making skis for everyone around the world and they just make all customs. Now, a little bit about myself. I grew up skiing in New England, originally from Maine. Started off snowboarding on a Burton flat tail directional board at a little hill called Eaton Mountain. That board was at the time probably 10 years old. It was straight from the 80s. Horrible bindings, horrible boots, but I was kind of hooked. Then when I entered high school, I got into ski racing. That's when I kind of first started hearing about people making their own skis. There's a guy in Farmington, Maine. He was making a ski called the Claw. A lot of kids on other race teams were skiing on the Claw, and I checked them out. They were super heavy. They had this big metal plate on them. And kind of put that seed in my head that, hey, this is something someone local's doing. That's kind of cool. Someone's making their own skis. While I was in college, I found out about skibuilders.com. This is probably 2007, 2008, around there. And I started researching, started seeing how people were doing things. I was on New Schoolers at the time. There was a mod on New Schoolers that started his own ski company, or 13Ps. Then at the same time, there was some guy in California making skis out of a trailer called 333 Skis. Fast forward a little bit, I graduated college, moved around a little bit, went to Utah, went to New Hampshire, went to Maine, wound back up in Vermont. And once I was kind of settled in a little bit, give this ski building thing a shot. So I ordered my first vacuum press, my first materials from the ski lab out in California, got some poplar, made my own router table to profile a core, and I created my first prototype in 2012. I didn't ski those. They didn't come out the best, but my second pair, we ended up moving from an apartment where I built those in a shed to a house which had a proper garage, a basement, and I slowly converted those into a workshop. From there, I kind of went all in, started making skis for my friends, making skis for people in Austria, Canada, Colorado, Vermont, Maine. After COVID, things got a little messy and it was a funky time, so I just stepped back. I'm like, I'm going to give it a break. I kind of turned my focus into making power surfers. So I started messing around with shapes and profiles and rockers, everything like that, with power surfing. And from power surfing, making those shapes and realizing, hey, this is a lot of fun, making one thing to stand on. I'm like, I'm going to make a snowboard. I want to make something a little bit different, more like a power surfer, because I like that surfy style. So I started researching what kind of snowboard would be similar to that type of riding. And I learned about the Japanese snow surfers. And so I made that style of board. I made a Japanese style snow surf snowboard for my first one. And since then, I made one more this year, kind of more all mountain directional, more traditional, camber rocker. Then I also made a pair of skis for a colleague of mine. And yeah, it's just something I'm passionate about. I'm going to keep doing it. I love making skis. I love making snowboards. You just want to make something that looks amazing, that performs amazing. I kind of look at it as creating functional art. you have the design in your head. You want to put a beautiful top sheet on it, but you want that beautiful top sheet and beautiful design, beautiful shape to perform well. You want to be able to rip down the mountain. You want to be able to hot clips. You want to be able to hit rails. You want to be able to take jumps. You want to be able to make carves. Equipment that looks good and performs good. That is my philosophy on making skis and snowboards, is performance and beauty all in one. But yeah, that's my story. What I want to do is allow others to share their stories, how they got into making skis and snowboards. Follow for more. Stay tuned. I have guests lined up for interviews. But until then, have a good one. King Snow, and talk to you later.